Go ahead and call this meeting of the Cottage Grove EDA to order on Tuesday, November 10th. Christine, are you doing the roll, or do you need to?
I am doing roll.
Okay.
So EDA President Bailey.
Here.
EDA Member Carey.
Here.
EDA Vice President Dennis.
Here.
EDA Member Myers.
Here.
EDA Member Smoot.
Here.
EDA Member Thewis.
Here.
EDA Member Posh.
Here.
Sounds good.
All right, so we're all here. So next on our agenda, I believe, is our information. Oh, do we need to do the approval?
Okay. You do. Yes, please.
All right, so 3.1 is approval of the minutes, which of course is approval of the August 8th, 2020 EDA meeting minutes. And if there isn't any changes or corrections from anybody out there, if we could get somebody to make a motion to approve the meeting minutes.
I will motion to approve the minutes.
Was that Mr. Carey, and was that EDA Member Posh?
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay. All right.
And I'll do.
You have to do a roll, I know.
Yes, please.
Yep.
EDA President Bailey.
Aye.
EDA Member Carey.
Aye.
EDA Vice President Dennis.
Aye.
EDA Member Myers.
Aye.
EDA Member Smoot.
Aye.
EDA Member Thewis.
Aye.
And EDA Member Posh.
Aye.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Moving right along, the next item is 4.1, which is economic development update. So Christine, do you want to take us through that?
You bet. So we'll begin with the beige book. Employment was mixed since the last report. Overall conditions remain quite volatile. Also, another statement in the beige book, initial unemployment claims over the most recent 6-week period through mid-September fell significantly compared to previous reporting period, but did remain elevated compared to last year. So we are still seeing the effects of COVID. Also, wage pressures and price pressures were moderate. We have seen growth in manufacturing, residential construction, and real estate. Consumer spending and tourism were flat. Activities slowed for professional services and commercial construction and real estate. District manufacturing activity increased moderately here in the state of Minnesota. There has been some pandemic-related bottlenecks that continue in the supply chain. We've actually heard that from some of our contractors as well as our building inspectors out in the field. Lumber, for instance, is hard to get. And then we'll see our next beige book report on December 2nd for the December meeting. Grove 80 Apartments, the underground footings and foundation have been inspected and improved. The building permit for the construction of the building was issued with a valuation just over $13 million. And then the Spancrete panels should arrive next week. So that's starting to take shape. Up North Plastics, the main building is substantially complete with continued construction on the silos. Some areas will be opening for occupancy here in mid-November, and the contractor is digging footings for the guardhouse. Lindgren Dental, they're adding a 3,550 square foot addition to the existing clinic. That'll include 7 additional treatment rooms and then an expanded waiting room area. They are substantially complete and received a temporary CO so that 2 of the treatment rooms can open and then they can begin that remodeling on the waiting room. Airgas, the permit for phase 2 was issued for construction of the building. The valuation is just slightly under $1 million. The inspections continue for footings, foundation, and slab work over there. River Oaks, a 1,500 square foot addition to the kitchen and banquet area has been constructed with framing and insulation. Rough-in plumbing and heating inspections are to be completed this week. And then the roof has been installed and the contractor is installing brick face and exterior cladding. The Washington County Lower Landing Trailhead building, This is a 5,892 square foot building that's being constructed. The water service supplied from the building to the well, the storm system to the storm pond was completed as well, and the roofing. Interior plumbing, electrical, and mechanical rough-in are being conducted with well drillers on site this week. And then the septic tanks, have been installed with drain tile. And then just want to make note that the Saturday after Thanksgiving is Small Business Saturday. So we encourage everybody to get out and shop all the small businesses. This year, it's definitely highly important with COVID and the impacts that they've seen. So I just wanted to share that information. And with that, I can take any questions.
All right, is there any questions by anybody out there? Barely gave you a chance to get a drink there, Christine. All right, I guess so. Move it along. So 4.2 is business retention and expansion for 2020.
Yes. So just to give some background information, the reason that we do the BR&E, we consider it a vital part of economic development. It's often easier than recruiting a new business is having our existing businesses stay in the community and expand. So we began the BR&E program in 2017. And at that time, we partnered with the University of Minnesota Extension to implement a BR&E program. They have an extensive program, so we used their background and their basis to start our program. At that time, we interviewed 41 businesses, that was both commercial and industrial, and we used a 20-member volunteer task force to start that. In 2017, there were 5 key priority projects and initiatives that came out of those interviews. That was chamber marketing in terms of lunch and learns, workforce, working with school district, needs for broadband and internet services, particularly in our business park, developing enforcement videos for code enforcement, and then advising businesses on what's available in the community. So as part of the outcomes for 2017, happy to say, and EDA Vice President Dennis is a part of this, is the Cottage Grove Convention and Visitors Bureau. So we were recently able to start that, and we're beginning to launch that and developing a website. So getting that going to promote our commercial businesses as well as the community. Also, South Washington School District, they're in Venture Space. And then we work with Comcast to run high-speed internet along 97th Street. We heard from businesses along there the need for high-speed internet. And then continuing our BR&E program through 2018. In 2018, we interviewed 12 businesses, and they were either new commercial and industrial businesses into the community or businesses that weren't part of the 2017 program. And out of that, 4 priority projects, again, internet was a question or a need, housing in terms of everything from market to workforce, beautification of commercial districts, and then code enforcement related to signs. So 2 of the major outcomes from 2018 is the start of our facade improvement program. To date, we started out developing the program the end of 18 and then implementing in 19. So as a result, we've had 4 projects totaling 100,000 that we've been able to assist. So for example, the Oasis Chiropractic Building, they did a major facade improvement program there. Also marketing the community to high density housing developers. We were able to market the old City Hall site for the Grove 80 apartments. So that'll be 120 units, 4-story building, and that's all market rate. And we have not had a market rate product here in Cottage Grove since the mid-90s. So that's really exciting to see. We did skip a year. We skipped 2019 from the BR&E program. So we began it again this year. The program began in March, and so we focused on the business part, and we did conduct all the interviews virtually due to COVID pandemic. So that played into the interviews for sure. And you can see the list of the businesses that we met with. The businesses interviewed totaled 1,782 employees. The average rate of pay was $18.50 per hour. The businesses interviewed some of the questions, the information we were able to tabulate. 7 out of the 11 indicated that sales were increasing, with the remaining 4 businesses indicating that sales were stable. The businesses stated that sales were increasing due to e-commerce changes as a result of COVID, new marketing efforts, premium products, happy customers, and new facilities. So that was really great to hear the positivity out of our business part. 8 out of the 11 businesses indicated they plan to increase the employee count in the next year or more, which was also wonderful to hear. And then the remaining 3 businesses would be stable for employment. So it was nice to hear that employment would remain stable or increase in our business part. 7 out of the 11 businesses indicated it was hard to find qualified employees due to the lack of candidates with the qualified technical skills for that particular job at the business. Also, an interview question asked businesses if Cottage Grove had enough housing for employees, and 2 of the businesses indicated that we needed more options, but the remaining felt that there was enough housing options. The businesses were also asked about future investment plans in the next 1 to 3 years. 7 out of the 11 businesses indicated they're planning major equipment purchases or to renovate or expand their current facilities within that 1 to 3 year time frame. So as a result, normally you would have at your space kind of a table placemat. And so the 4 project or priorities that came out of the 2020 BR&E are housing, training, transportation, and commercial. And we're going to start with transportation. The businesses, that was probably the overwhelming need or request from the businesses in the business park as a high priority for them. Their workforce is an asset to their organization, so it's important for them to get their employees here to Cottage Grove, as well as those looking for employment at our businesses and our business park. So they're looking for various public transportation methods to pull people from, say, St. Paul and the surrounding area. So potential action steps is to continue to work to fulfill our bus rapid transit need. We do sit on the Red Rock Corridor Commission. We're also on the East Metro Strong and other various commissions. I know the City Council has taken a very active role in ensuring that Cottage Grove is noted in any state legislation that comes forward, that we're a part of that we do get our fair share of future public transportation. We are working with Washington County on adding a bus rapid transit location at the shops at Cottage View, as that master plan includes housing, the potential for a community center and commercial. It's a viable node to have that bus rapid transit there with the housing and commercial needs. Next, I'll go to the housing component. Again, always looking for various housing needs for employees from the executive level down to the entry level employee. So we'll continue to market the Harkness Small Area Study, shops at Cottage Grove and other areas through conferences and events that we do welcome the need for housing at various levels. As council stated, that life cycle housing. We do want to see that here in Cottage Grove. The Community Development Department is developing a comprehensive housing plan that will probably be presented, I assume, at the city strategic planning session in early January. And then we'll continue to promote sustainable development through various density and public and private partnerships. In terms of training, many of the businesses indicated, the need for customized training programs. So our thought is for us, again, to work with the school district to raise awareness regarding various trades. That's something we had started with the inventor space, is that not everybody goes to college, or there are various options through technical schools where you can still make a wonderful living, and to provide those training opportunities for the young people. Also, to work with the school district on developing a post-secondary EMT course. Our Fire department, EMT has taken a strong interest in providing this. And with the Hero Center, we thought that would be a great partnership. Also engaged with various businesses in the business park and surrounding Cottage Grove on what their needs are and see if we can create those network opportunities for what kind of specialized training there is and connecting them with various people who can provide that. And then also exploring the creation of a higher education campus, especially with the Hero Center. We have that law enforcement aspect. Is there something we can do there with kind of a higher education component? And then lastly, commercial. In all the interviews, they indicated that businesses want more option for their employees and for those clientele that they bring in terms of restaurants and hotels. It helps with employee retention, and it makes it easier for businesses to conduct their day-to-day operations. So plan to continue to implement the Visitors Bureau and get that activated so we can increase visits to the community, attract new businesses through that component, as well as continuing to market commercial properties through MinCar Expo and ICSC Recon in Las Vegas. An additional component of the BR&E is a community factors survey. And what this is to determine what businesses actually know about the community and if these community factors have any impact on the business. So there's a ranking of 1 to 5, 1 being poor, 5 being great. Some businesses would skip questions if they felt they did not have enough information. But for each community factor, at least 3 businesses had to give an answer to be included. So the top 3 factors were the Economic Development Authority, Fire Department, and Planning and Zoning. And then the bottom 3 factors were public transportation, customized training programs, and cultural opportunities. And so, as you can tell, we took those bottom 3 and have implemented those as priority items for the 2020. Additionally, we asked them to give their opinion on strengths and weakness of the business climate. You'll see some of them repeated. That's because different businesses had the same request. So for example, in weaknesses, you'll see a number of them say no public transportation for workforce. So that's different businesses from the interview pool that had asked for that. So strengths, great staff to work with on the city, strong workforce, low traffic for commute, good location, accessibility to airport, business friendly. And again, some of the weaknesses of what we heard in the past and continue to work on in terms of public transportation, housing options, the need for another hotel, and then working with the railroad company can be difficult. So moving forward for the 2020 projects and priorities, this will allow the EDA and City Council kind of to set action steps for 2021 and beyond as part of that city strategic plan. So in early January, the City Council will get together with city staff to set those strategic priorities for the coming year. And then for the 2021 BR&E program, we're going to look to focus on commercial businesses to see how they're dealing with the pandemic, and hope to interview the businesses that received our small business grant to see how they're faring and what we can do moving out of the pandemic and moving forward to assist our commercial businesses. So with that, I can take any questions.
All right. Are there any questions for Christine on the BR&E program? Oh my goodness, we're being so quiet this morning. Either that, or I guess the best thing for you, Christine, is you were so thorough.
Or I put them to sleep.
Yeah, that can't happen.
I do want to note that Matt Wolf, who's the assistant to the city administrator, he really spearheads the BR&E project here for this last one. So he put in all the time and effort for this to interview the businesses. So really appreciate all of his work on this. And then he shares that information with me, and then we work on developing those priorities and projects to share with the EDA and council. So
Perfect.
just want to thank him.
All right, fantastic. All right, I don't see any questions. Thank you for the update. Oh, maybe we do. Mr. Hughes?
Yeah, I guess my question more is around transportation. And I know you talked about adding another stop at the Cottage View location. But, since we have these multiple nodes of commercial districts, I'm wondering how, including the business park, like how do people, if they get transported to Cottage Grove, how do they get around to those locations or from the bus stops to the businesses? Like I feel like, having two bus stops are not sufficient to like disperse people to, all the different business areas around Cottage Grove.
So that's one of the things that we've been discussing. For example, the existing park and ride. There are some people that come in from St. Paul and at least make it to the park and ride. For example, Renewal by Anderson uses the Metropolitan Council's van pool program. So they can have a van come to the park and ride to pick up their employees. Businesses currently have made arrangements through other employees to pick them up at the park and ride, but that's an excellent point and something that we're looking at and working on is how do we get people from the BRT station, park and ride to the business, and is that a local bus? We started with darts. Yes, that's more senior focused, but as we move forward, do we look at something that's more community-wide in terms of a local bus circulator? So we've asked that to Metropolitan Council and other entities in terms of, okay, we get them here, how do we then disperse them into our community? And part of that is making sure our community is walkable with sidewalks and so forth. But for those who can't walk, how do we get them then to the business? So that's a good point. It's a component we're working on.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, and to your point, Eric, as somebody who is a member of the Transportation Advisory Board for Met Council, it's a challenge because our city, to be quite honest with you, gets put up against funding dollars that end up in a lot of cases going to Minneapolis, St. Paul, or I'll call it the first ring suburbs. That's not to say that we don't have a placeholder or financials that we're trying to get, through a variety of means. But I've always advocated for the fact of let's not wait for the problem to happen before we have to fix the transportation issue. Let's try to be ahead of it. Challenges are those the dollars typically go to the projects that are in most dire need. So it's almost like the way the system is, and we've been discussing this actually. The system is set up where the dollars end up going to the projects that score the highest, and the scoring is typically based on accidents, ridership, things like that. So I know one of the things I hear from our senator quite a bit is how do we build the ridership? Well, the other thing, just to throw it out there now, is since COVID has happened, they're re-looking at how transportation may or may not be needed in the ways that it was in the past, due to the fact that a lot of people are realizing now that they can work from home and don't need to take the bus. So that, of course, reduces ridership, which means the subsidies are higher. So we've got, I think, personally speaking, I think other than just the city of Cottage Grove, I think we have a real interesting next year or so to really understand what effect COVID and such had on the transportation model. But it's a very good comment because I agree with you. If I wanted, if I live in these new apartments up on 80th Street or anywhere around Cottage Grove, if I wanted to and didn't want to have a car, the likelihood of me being able to truly not have a car in Cottage Grove is very, very slim because I won't be able to get around. So if that's something we will work on it, obviously, but it is a very good question on connectivity. Any other comments by anybody out there on the EDA? All right, sounds good. So, Christine, is this you, I'm assuming, again, with the business grant update?
Yep, sorry, you're stuck with me.
Yeah, it's all you.
So wanted to give you an update on our small business emergency assistance grants that both the EDA and City Council approved as a response to COVID. So this was in regards to governor's orders that really impacted many of our commercial businesses that rely on a customer base. So the EDA set aside $300,000 from the EDA trust. This is not city taxpayer money to provide grants up to $10,000 per business. We put together grant guidelines. Initially, we got a set of businesses, but we found we weren't getting as many as we wanted. So we made the guidelines a little less restrictive to allow more to apply. So we ended up doing 3 rounds total. We assisted 19 local businesses for total grant funds of just a little shy of $182,000. And you can see there the list of the businesses that we assisted. As part of the program, we asked for them to use the funds by the end of August and then report to the City Council and EDA how they use the funds. So this is kind of the second set of businesses where I received back how they use the funds. You can see they used it from everything in terms of business expenses, if they were a restaurant, to pay for, food product, rent was huge, payroll was huge, as well as utility bills. So overall, I heard from businesses very much appreciative of the support of the EDA and City Council to provide the grants. This really helped them move through the months where they couldn't be in full operation. For example, the healing place of Cottage Grove, they were completely closed down. So they could use some of the expenses for additional training for their therapists and then come back fully ready to go. They use some of the funds for PPE. So I have to say, businesses are so appreciative of you and the City Council allowing them the opportunity to apply for these grants. So everybody has submitted but one business. I have one business remaining that's outstanding to get paperwork back from. So as soon as I get that, I'll report that again to the EDA and City Council. So with that, I can take any questions.
Any questions for Christine on the program? All right, I guess we keep moving on along. So there are no public hearings this morning, so we don't have anything there for number 5. Number 6 is the EDA calendar. I don't know that I guess I didn't notice if I saw one in there, to be honest with you.
I believe there was not. We currently don't really have any events going on due to COVID. So.
Yes, and then which will move to 6.2. I guess I'll open it up to any EDA comments or questions for staff at this point. I guess the only thing I'll throw out there, just a couple bits of information, is just so all of you are aware, obviously we're trying to navigate through the COVID situation, but yet still offer opportunities for the public to do things and be active and so on. As many of you may be aware, we typically do like a tree lighting ceremony at City Hall for Christmas. Unfortunately, due to the number of people that, I guess in a good way, come out for that event, we are not going to be able to do that this year due to COVID restrictions. However, Molly from Parks and Rec is going to be providing the council at the next meeting kind of an update on some things that we're going to do of similar to, to keep people active, positive through the holiday seasons. We're still going to have the tree lit. We are going to have some opportunities out there. I won't get into all the details. I promise Molly won't steal all her thunder. But there are some other things that you're going to be able to do. And then I have seen a lot on social media, a lot of people putting up lights this year. And frankly, even around me, my neighbors who have never put up lights before, maybe it was the nice weather, I don't know, or just the fact of the matter is we are going to be putting together lists this year for people to go out and look at lights, which I think can obviously brighten up the mood under the circumstances. So we are going to still do those things, and of course we'll have our street decor up throughout our business districts here just in a couple weeks. Again, hopefully to get people put a smile on some people's faces during these times of COVID. Also, I'm sure you're all aware, but on the local election level, Councilmember Olson and Councilmember Mills both were re-elected to the city council. Obviously, I shouldn't say obviously, but I ran unopposed. So I'm back on the council. At the local level, Senator Carla Bingham is still our Minnesota senator for our area. Keith Franke will be taking over 54A and from Ann Claflin, and 54B will be Tony Juergens, who has been in that role, so that's good. And then on the larger level, Angie Craig, who I have to just say, and I'm sure Councilmember and EDA Vice President Dennis would concur, has been a really strong advocate for the Cottage Grove market, frankly. She's had lots of visits to our town. So from a U.S. representative in Washington, she was reelected back into that position. And I really look forward to working with her. Maybe, and as Mr. Thews was talking about some possibilities for transportation funding, we have talked to her about a couple different projects and opportunities within Cottage Grove that we believe in talking with her, we may qualify, and she would support in DC and some of these upcoming what could be stimulus bills and such as we get into 2021. So personally speaking, and from a local level standpoint, I think we're poised to have a great going forward once we kind of get through the COVID piece. But as you saw from Christine on the staff here, our growth as at least specifically as it relates to housing is not slowing down at all in our community, even into these months that we're currently in, which is typically the slowdown months heading into winter, and it's just not slowing down. So we'll be cautious, but at the same time, we've got developers lining up to develop parcels and such next year even already. So I think 2020, though it's been a difficult year from a growth standpoint, has been good for Cottage Grove. Hopefully, if we can get some control over the COVID thing, 2021 will even be better yet. So I just wanted to add those bits and pieces of kind of what's going on within the city going forward here. Any other EDA comments? All right, 6.3 was response to previous EDA comments. I don't believe there was any. We don't have a workshop this morning after this meeting, so I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
A motion to adjourn?
I didn't catch who that was. Was that Chris?
Yes.
Chris Carey. Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, and Rachel seconded that one. Do you need to roll this again, Christine, or are you good?
If we could.
Yeah, let's roll.
Okay, EDA President Bailey,
Aye.
EDA Member Carey,
Aye.
EDA Vice President Dennis,
Aye.
EDA Member Myers,
Aye.
EDA Member Smoot,
Aye.
EDA Member Thews,
Aye.
EDA Member Pash.
Aye.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this morning, and we'll look forward to talking to you in December. Take care, everyone.
Wonderful.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.